Hi YouTube family, Lisa A. Romano here, the life coach, and today I want to talk about one of the tricks I teach my clients that has to do with how we can spot a narcissist and what are some of the things that we can do when we're in a conversation with someone that we think might be a narcissist that'll help us identify whether or not this person is in fact, well, or not in fact, because unless we're taking a personality test and we've lived with this person and we know firsthand that they're a narcissist, when we're first meeting someone, we're pretty much trying to figure out whether or not they're compatible with us. Narcissists are not compatible truly with anyone in a healthy sense. Narcissists tend to attract people who need to be validated by other people. So if you're codependent, you are tuned up for a narcissist. If you don't have a soul, obviously you have a soul, but if you're not connected to your own soul, if you're not connected to a sense of self, if you were born to people who minimized you and were disconnected and aloof as parents, then they may have taught you, unfortunately, how not to connect to self. And so people who are insecure, seek validation from the outside, had troubled childhoods, they will attract narcissists. People who had narcissistic parents, they're tuned up for that. And so for those of you who have been following my work, who might feel that you are either codependent or an adult child of an alcoholic from either an actively alcoholic home or what we call a dry home where there was no alcohol to point at, if you've grown up a love addict and just insecure, if you've had issues with bulimia, anorexia, if you're a cutter, if you're just suffer from anxiety and panic disorders, then you may also be thinking that you have low self-esteem and you're not worthy, and then you sort of settle for the kinds of people that show up. And so you're really not picking, you're not selectively sifting, the people you date or marry. You're just kind of like whatever shows up. So like if you're a size 7.5 and you find a pair of shoes that's a size 5, then you're just shoving your foot in it and you got blisters and you're a mess and you can't walk and you're uncomfortable and you're smiling even though you're uncomfortable. That's sort of like what codependents do or people who are insecure do. They settle for the relationship that shows up. It doesn't fit, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel authentic, but they wear the relationship anyway, because that's what they've been taught to do. So one of the things that when I was a single mom for 14 years, and when I started dating again after my divorce, I was terrified because my ex-husband was passive aggressive, narcissistic, and it was really hard to spot because everybody loved him. He was like the mayor in our town. And he was totally on the surface a people pleaser, but he had no intention of ever following through. So if my ex-husband said, yeah, I'll come by later to check out that job for you, he wasn't coming by later. As a matter of fact, he was just saying it in the moment so that you could like him in the moment. So he's very passive aggressive, very manipulative, all about making this person in the moment think I'm a nice person, but behind the scenes, I'm screwing them every step of the way. In some way. I have no intentions of following through with my word. He was the kind of person that did not say what he meant and he did not mean what he said. So it was very confusing to me because on the surface, and that's what codependents do, they see everything on the surface. They don't look within. On the surface, we had a house, we went on vacations, we had 3 healthy children, we had a business, and everyone freaking loved him, including my family. And so inside, I had this turbulence going on. I was like, I don't think he sees me. I don't think he cares. I don't think my feelings matter to him at all. I don't think he ever wonders how I feel. Like, I don't think I'm important to him. And that's the way I felt, and that's the way he treated me. But because everything looked so good, just like it did in my dry home, my dry ACOA home, it was very difficult for me because there was nothing concrete to point at. I thought I needed permission to feel like he's off or we're off. I thought I needed someone to say, yes, Lisa, that's your reality and I can validate for you. Yeah, I can vouch for you. Like, your relationship's messed up. I really did think that I needed someone to validate my internal experience, which is why I was codependent and why I stayed for so long and why I needed other people's permission to feel like I had a right to experience what I was experiencing. So if you're codependent, I hear you. Like, it's tough. And I encourage you to keep seeking knowledge, because the way to break codependent patterns is through truth. The truth sets you free. What truth? Your truth. If you ain't happy, don't be happy. Then you're not happy. And if you're not happy, you have a right to not be happy. And anyone's trying to tell you that you should be happy and you're not happy, that's someone you got to look at twice, because they're not hearing you. And so one of the tricks that I used on, when I was dating as a single mom was, I knew that narcissists lacked empathy. And I'm an empath, so I will have complete empathy for the person that I'm with, naturally, which, if I'm not careful, sets me up for narcissistic abuse by someone else, because I want to know how they feel. I want to know what they think. I want to make sure that they're okay. So that comes natural to me. So if I'm not careful about that energy that I give off, I'm going to get sucked in by a narcissist. And so what I began to do was, while I was on a date with a man, I would say things like, oh, yesterday was a really, really interesting day with the kids. It was really, really exhausting. If that guy did not say something like, really, tell me about it, if he did not seek interest in the feeling that I threw out there, then he's not empathetic to what I'm feeling. Like, he's not interested in that. He wants to know how much the bill is he getting laid, am I going to see him tomorrow, is he able to control me into thinking about what he needs? So I would do that, like, during dinner. And I would, okay, the first thing, I'll let that pass. Okay, so, oh yeah, yesterday was a tough day with the kids. It was exhausting. No, what do you mean by that? Tell me about that. Oh yeah, kids, under the age of 12, they can be tough. Even over the age of 12, they could be tough. If there was no bouncing off of that, that was strike number one. I might say, now just be aware of this. So I'm at dinner, I'm interviewing this guy. Okay, strike number one, does not bounce back feelings. Very bad sign. Because I'm going to ask you. So if he says he had a tough day, I'm all over that. I'm like, tell me about it. What do you mean you had a bad day? Oh, what was said? Well, okay, why did that happen? I want to know. So I need to be with someone who's like that, because otherwise there's no flow back and forth. So during the course of dinner, again, like I say, I would interview men, and I suggest that my clients who are single interview women or interview men when they're dating. So I would let that one go. So then I might say, now I'm aware, I'm not into this guy yet, I'm observing him. Then I might say something like, tell me about how you grew up. And then if he had a feeling, I would empathize with that feeling. And then I would say, yeah, well, I'm the oldest of three, and, my siblings and I just didn't share the same reality. So that was confusing. If that guy doesn't say, yeah, I can see how that could be confusing if you don't share the same reality, if he doesn't inquire about what I mean, if he doesn't want to know more about what that means, I'm done. Like this, thank you for dinner. Here we go. Let's split the check, because you're never going to see me again. Like, don't call me tomorrow. I'm not wasting my time. So essentially, very briefly, this video has been created to help those of you who tend to attract narcissists, help you find ways where you can test the waters with people before you take them home and sleep with them. Or start a relationship with them, or get too involved with them. Figure out if the people in your life, test the waters. See if the people in your life mimic back your feelings. If you're codependent and you're a love addict and you're an empath, then you're the one who's always trying to understand everybody. And that's draining. That's exhausting. And those relationships don't work. They fizzle out, and you end up feeling very resentful and angry and feeling like, what about me? Now, on the road to codependent recovery and ACOA recovery, whether for dry homes or active alcoholic homes, we learn to take accountability for the energy we're giving out. Okay? So if you are hanging out with people who, women, friends, whatever, colleagues, you're spending time with people who never ask you how you are, never ask you how you feel. If you come up, go to a luncheon or something, you start talking about how you feel, and you're with women who kind of like steamroll right over that, you have to pay attention to that. So I'm not saying, throw them away, never speak to them again. I'm saying don't be the one who is seeking to understand them. Like, let it ride. Take a step back. Have a conversation about the weather. Have a conversation about the upcoming project. Have a conversation about the upcoming PTA meeting. Have very light conversations. That is not a conversation that you sink yourself into. That's not a conversation that you say, yeah, that's willing of me. That's willing of my authentic energy. That's willing of my soul. That's willing of me sharing myself. So we have to figure out the boundaries. There are certain relationships that you can be self with. You can express self with. You can be giving in. And then there are relationships that you cannot. And unfortunately, some of the relationships that we cannot be giving in include mom, dad, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, and sometimes even the friends that we've attracted along the way. Sometimes you'll experience someone that you've just met, for 20 minutes, and you have a more authentic, loving, back and forth exchange of emotions than you do with your own mother or your own father, and that's okay. The goal is to pay attention to the way that feels, the reciprocation that takes place, how that person is reciprocating how you feel. They're mirroring your emotion. That's healthy. You want to be in that type of an exchange with somebody. So dear ones, it's all about learning about who you are and what you're worth, and understanding that people who don't see you don't get to feel you. People who don't see you don't get to experience the love vibration that you emit. That doesn't mean you harass them, you cut them off. You can still bless somebody. I still bless my ex-husband. I bless my mom, my dad. I bless everybody. Like, I don't have a beef with anybody. I understand that everybody is a product of their environment, and where they are is representative of their current level of self-awareness. And that is on a spectrum. Those are levels, those are vibrations, and that changes. So my ex-husband can be very unaware today, but he might be extremely aware tomorrow. And I have no right to judge his path. I have no right to judge my sisters and my brothers. My goal is to figure out, do they hear me? And if they do, okay, I'll tiptoe into that pool. They don't, I'm getting right back out. I'd rather be by myself. I'd rather journal. I'd rather make a YouTube video. I'd rather take my beautiful dogs out for a walk. I would rather hang out with, in my bird aviary. I would rather, but I am highly sensitive and tend to be an introvert, believe it or not. But I would much rather surround myself with books that I love and nature and go on a nature walk than extend my energy in relationships with people whose agenda it is not to see me. Like, that's just, okay, see you later, alligator. So I hope this has inspired you. Please keep your questions coming. I love them, and I try to comment to everybody in the channel description downstairs, anybody that leaves comments below. You can check my stuff out at www.healingselfesteem.com and www.adultchildofalcoholiclifecoach.com. Teleseminar starting March 7th. I also have a free event coming up March 8th. It's a 1-hour event. It's going to be a webinar, and if you're interested in signing up, you must sign up. Because I will only be giving the link to the people who sign up. It's a one-time event. I will be hosting future events obviously in the future. I will be hosting more events obviously in the future. Look forward to that. You can check that out at www.healingselfesteem.com. If you're interested in coaching with me one-on-one, you can drop me an email at healingselfesteem@gmail.com, and we'll just set that right up. Take care, everybody. Bye. Namaste.